I'm David.
And I'm Gary.
This is Demented Collective. Today we're going to talk about, is Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho a slasher?
Yeah, good question.
All right.
Find out.
So it came out in 1960, and...
Yep, September 8th of 1960.
September 8th. What do you... Give me some thoughts.
First time actually seeing this movie, which I don't know why it took me so long because...
First time.
Yeah, first time. And
So he told me that 20 minutes ago. I just kind of...
Yeah.
I didn't have anything to say. I had no reply. Like, how have you not seen this?
I know. That's what I was asking myself. Why did it take me so long? It was such a good movie.
Yeah.
It is a classic.
Oh, just wait till I get to my rating on this thing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's blowing Exorcist out of the water. I'll tell you what. All those lists, this should be number one on the list instead of Exorcist.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying.
It's a classic.
Yeah. It was 1960, September 8th.
Mm-hmm.
And then the official synopsis. A Phoenix secretary embezzles $40,000 from her employer's client, goes on the run, and checks into a remote hotel run by a young man under the domination of his mother.
Dun, dun.
So they're not giving spoilers in the synopsis there. Of course, Hitchcock did it. What other stuff? Where else might we know Hitchcock?
Birds.
Sure.
Got one goofy guy that, is notorious for being...
Notorious?
Yeah, for being...
Okay.
Oh, yeah, dude. Like,
There's a movie. I think he did a movie called Notorious.
Oh!
Yeah, that's where I was going with that.
Yeah, he was notorious.
North by Northwest.
Oh, yeah.
I think Cary Grant was in that the year prior to this.
Hmm.
And then prior to that, he did Vertigo. So he had two monster hits before
yeah.
this came out. And then they screwed him on the budget.
Of course.
But this, what we were talking about, this is what he wanted to do, a low budget, because the French director that did Le Diabolique.
Yeah, Le Diabolique.
Le Diabolique. The critics were saying, this guy can do it with a low budget. Why can't you be like him? So he's like, all right, I'll do it. And this is what he did.
Accepted.
This was his answer to the critics. And he nailed it.
Oh, yeah. Hey, that's one thing you can say about him. He didn't shy away from a challenge.
Yeah. And, I mean, he's got the years under him, too, by this point. He's been directing. His first official directing credit was in 1925. He was doing silent movies with The Garden of Pleasure. So I think it was Garden of Pleasure? Pleasure Garden. Pleasure Garden. And, geez, I kind of want to see that, because that was before the Hays Code. So I kind of wonder what's in that.
That was pre-code films.
Pre-code. There, yeah.
Always.
Okay, we're going to have to get into something. Okay, I just got to say it. There's a movie called Maniac from like 1931, pre-Hays.
Oh, yes, that they remade with Elijah Wood.
No.
No?
You're thinking the 80s slasher.
Oh.
Like 1980, 81, something like that. It was the Italian movie. No, it had Phyllis Diller in it.
Really?
She was alive, apparently, and like 20 at the time. And she's topless in it. It's 1931. It's wild. It's about some crazy scientist guy or something like that. And he goes crazy.
Topless Phyllis Diller or not.
I mean, in 1920, but
I mean,
she was young. Yes. Okay, I just wanted to say that. I haven't been able to find it. Riff Tracks did a riff of it. And that's the only reason I know about this movie.
And then trying to find the original copy or find the original.
I haven't been able to find one. They have a copy, but yeah, so you can watch it with them if you know about Riff Tracks.
Yeah, but when you want to try and actually, what if we want to do our own review, not a review of a Riff Tracks review?
Right, exactly. Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's worth doing.
Excuse
Bless you. Oh, that's two.
Oh, dang. Blooper.
The music, Bernard Herrmann,
was classic.
As soon as it starts in the credits, it's masterful.
Iconic. That was my first note, actually, was iconic music.
No, it absolutely is. Everyone knows this music. Mm-hmm. It's used, The Simpsons used it, it's used in a whole bunch of stuff. And Hitchcock liked it so much, he doubled the guy's salary.
Oh.
It's like, I like this music so much, I'm giving you a double.
Oh.
Perfect. Which was $34,000. In today's money, it's $360,000, give or take.
Dang.
And this guy worked on Vertigo. He worked on North by Northwest, but he also worked on Taxi Driver.
Oh.
So yeah, he had a good career going.
Excuse me.
Written by Joseph Stefano.
Oh, that's based off the book of the same name,
Uh-huh.
I believe.
Yep, Psycho. Now, have you ever seen Snow Beast? It was made in the 70s. This is also a Riff Tracks movie.
No,
It's
I
bad.
haven't.
It is not good. But that's where I knew him from originally. But he also worked on The Outer Limits, the original Outer Limits. He was a writer for them.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Eye of the Cat in 1969.
Okay.
And then Asylum. I was wondering if you had seen that from 1972.
No, I don't believe I have.
Okay. We might have to check that one out. And then he did some Star Trek episodes.
Huh.
Yeah. That guy got around. So then the actors.
No comment.
Anthony Perkins.
Oh, dude.
What do you know?
I mean, I'm familiar with his name. Honestly, this is my first time actually seeing him in anything that I can recall.
Okay.
But dude was from what I read on his credits, powerhouse. I mean, like I said, I think his last film role was even like made for television film was 92 when I looked it up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he died in 92.
Yeah, and shortly after, before that, he opened up about his personal health problems. But yeah, I mean, one of the ones that honestly caught my eye the most, I mean, obviously, he did Catch-22, I pointed out based off the book, and then freaking the 78 production, or made for television production of Les Mis.
Yeah, you were saying that.
Les Miserables as Javert.
And you also said he had musical chops.
Oh yeah, he has on his Wikipedia. They have mentioned, I believe that he has talent in singing, which makes sense if I don't know much about the 78 Les Mis, but it's traditionally musical.
Wow.
And actually, one of his sons, I think, is Oz Perkins, is a musician.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Never heard of him.
Me neither.
And he also he's always played Norman Bates.
Oh yeah.
In the quadrilogy of Psycho movies.
The original, the quadrilogy films, not including the made-for-television the made-for-television, the TV series they wanted to do that was a prequel. It was another actor named Kurt. You know what? I can look that up real quick. Kurt.
Okay, well, while you look that up, he's in part 2. I've seen part 2. Part 2's good. See it. Part 3 I haven't seen. Part 4 I haven't seen. We're eventually going to work our way through the Psycho movies.
Oh, yes. Such a good film series.
I don't know if I want to hit the remake in '98.
I would like.
I saw it in theaters, and
it might be fun to see how Vince Vaughn stacks up to Anthony Perkins, which is honestly those are some pretty big shoes to fill, just because.
Yeah, and this was prior to him hitting the comedy stuff that made him big.
Oh yeah, Wedding Crashers.
He was doing more serious stuff in the beginning.
Well, yeah, like the one with John Travolta. Can't remember the name.
I don't know.
If you guys know, comment.
I remember The Cell with Jennifer Lopez. And he's like a
Yes.
detective or something in it. That's where I remember him from back in the 90s.
Even when he has some good serious acting chops. I mean, one of my favorite roles of him is actually in Freaky.
Yeah,
the
Where they
horror
swap,
version
yeah.
of Freaky Friday.
We tend to go on tangents about other actors when we do it, so
It happens.
bear with us.
Don't judge us.
But Anthony Perkins and Janet Leigh, who's Marion Crane, I guess main female, got typecast. They were cool with it. They were typecast into this role.
Yeah.
And they were interviewed, and they've spoken about it. And Anthony Perkins said he's fine with it. They said something to the effect of, "I'd rather be typecast in a fantastic movie that will keep my name talked about for generations, as opposed to being in a ton of crap that nobody talks about."
Oh yeah, and I mean to this day, he was not wrong. This film is, I'm going to be using that word a lot, iconic. I mean, it's been referenced and used in so much.
This was a turning point in. I feel like this was a turning point in 1960. This sort of thing. They pushed some boundaries in this movie.
Kurt Paul. He played in the film Bates Motel. It was a spin-off
Never seen
of
it.
the Psycho franchise. Yeah, no.
I know the TV show with the kid from The Good Doctor.
Oh yeah, and honestly, he does have kind of a look to a look like a young Anthony Perkins. So I'm definitely interested in checking that out, especially with the other actress, Sarah Paulson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that's Sarah Paulson.
That's the mom, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She obviously she's probably best known for, and I almost said Stranger Things. It's definitely not Stranger Things. American Horror Story.
There you go. But speaking of Janet Leigh, though, she's Marion Crane, the lead female. She was in Manchurian Candidate, another Riff Tracks, Night of the Lepus. Lepus means rabbit. It's giant rabbits, and they terrorize a town.
Yeah.
It's great.
Is that the one where they use like actual rabbits?
Oh yeah, on a mini set, like a mini. They build
perfect.
minis for it.
I love that. I appreciate it.
She was also in a movie with her daughter.
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Jamie Lee Curtis is her daughter, and they were in The Fog together.
Really?
1980-81. Fog, the original Fog, yeah. And I want to say that was John Carpenter.
Probably.
I think it was.
Oh, don't want to spend too much time just because I will go on
Okay.
a tangent Google
and then you got
things.
Her sister, who doesn't come into the movie until 50 minutes into the movie.
Oh yeah, a little more than halfway through. I want to say.
Lila Crane, played by Vera Miles. And with big movies, she was only in The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, and even then, to me that's not a big movie, but like to my mom, that's a big movie.
Oh yeah, it's one of those.
But she was in a John Wayne movie, The Searchers, which is actually a pretty decent flick if you're looking for a western.
Yeah.
John Gavin with Sam Loomis.
Ah yes.
Now, where have you heard that?
Oh yeah, obviously any slasher fans out there would definitely recognize the last name Loomis at least, or even Sam as
That's his first name, and
in the original Halloween as well as the remakes, the Rob Zombie remakes. It is Samuel Loomis, and it has been stated, I believe, that it was inspired by Sam Lewis from Psycho. So yet another example of how just the legacy of this film.
And then I think Scream used Sam Loomis for somebody also.
Billy Loomis.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So
Loomis again.
Yeah, they got the Loomis in there. And really the only big thing he did was Spartacus, but that was a monster. So for the time, and that was a year after this. Virginia Gregg.
Spartacus.
Who's Virginia Gregg? What other females in this is in this movie? Or maybe voice.
Mommy Dearest.
Mother. She plays the mother voice.
Mother.
She went uncredited for years until like the
Really?
80s. Yeah, because she did the voice until she died in the mid 90s or something like that.
Like the actor that donned the Darth Vader suit, not the.
Oh right.
Everyone knows he was voiced by James Earl Jones,
right?
But not a lot of people know the actual actor's name. If you know, comment. And before we get too farther into it, almost forgot. Like, subscribe if you would, and also spoilers ahead if you haven't seen this film, like I didn't.
Yeah, everyone else has seen this, and this guy's over here like he's gonna.
My mom started me.
I'm going to give you crap about this.
And she talked about this film, and now, Mama, if you ever watch this, why didn't you show me this film sooner?
Yeah, for real.
I still love you, Mom.
Yeah, I probably saw this when I was between 10 and probably around 10. Let's see. So Virginia Gregg was uncredited, but she did the voice of Mother for Psycho 2, Psycho 3, and then she died and was unable to do Part 4.
Oh, sad.
And I have no idea. We'll get to that when we get to Part 4.
Yeah, eventually.
And then Martin Balsam is the Detective Milton Arbogast.
Yeah. Arbogast.
And he was in St. Elmo's Fire.
Really?
Yeah, you're a Brat Pack fan.
So
he's in there. He's in 12 Angry Men. He's one of the jurors.
Classic.
And I think we just talked about that with Exorcist.
Yeah.
And Cape Fear.
Oh, isn't that the one where the guy straps himself to the bottom of the car?
Yes.
Yeah,
and then
that one's also been done.
That was a Stephen King, I think. And then what I know him best is from the Mystery Science Theater episode, Mitchell, with Joe Don Baker. No one's seen it, unless you watch Mystery Science Theater.
There's a lot of good films out there that don't get watched and don't get the credit they really deserve. Unlike this one, which is definitely worth it and has gotten more than...
Oh, yeah, this is...
Yeah.
It's got its accolades. It's sitting pretty. Let's dive into this though, and then we'll hit the. Does it do the requirements that we see in this movie? Do they hit the requirements of a slasher?
Yeah, which I think that so we talked about this before we started filming.
Mm-hmm.
I think we agreed on 4 things, keeping it as simple as possible. 4 things to make a film a slasher.
Okay.
If you guys want to, chime in, feel free. But I think just to keep it bare bones, 1, the killer has to be or has to have been at some point in time human.
Yeah.
The killer either chooses to kill or is compelled to kill.
Mm-hmm.
There has to be a body count. And
What's the number on the body count?
I think we'll get into that as we progress on the film.
Okay. Yeah, there's going to be some debate there.
Yeah. And then the last and probably the most iconic out of anything in a slasher franchise is there has to be a final girl or final boy, so we could just say there has to be a final person.
Mm-hmm. There might be some debate there too.
There might be a little bit of debate.
Okay.
I do agree on that one.
All right.
Yeah, we will.
So
Let's dig in.
it's Phoenix, Arizona, Friday, December the 11th, 2:43 p.m. I like how they spelled everything out for you.
Right?
That's great.
It's perfect. It's like the opening of a book.
Yeah.
Which is based off of a book, so even better.
Now I was reading that when they did the helicopter shot for it, and that's actually Phoenix. And
sweet.
They used, apparently it was like a museum or something, or currently it's not anymore. I don't know what's going on there, but it was a hotel at the time. But if you look closely to the streets, you can see Christmas decorations.
I thought I saw some. Yeah,
Right.
there was some stuff in there that I was getting a little Christmas vibes.
They did the flyover in December.
So not.
They were a few months early when they released it in September.
But it was. I mean,
you don't notice it unless you're.
yeah.
And I paused it. I was looking, and that's why.
Yeah.
I had
Well,
noticed.
I think we do tend to get a little bit more into the nitty gritty.
Yeah, and when we get to that one scene that I was showing you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
I'm doing the frame by frame. Yeah.
Oh yeah, same.
We're
same.
dorks.
We are. Hey, we're just 2 dorks enjoying film.
Now Marion and Sam are having a fling. Now, did you notice that Marion is wearing all white?
Yeah.
Okay. And there's gonna be a change later.
Yeah.
And there's a reason for that.
The one thing I love about this film is all the foreshadowing.
Yeah, this is good stuff.
Yeah.
And he wasn't a cool person, from what I hear. Hitchcock. But a
no.
director, the guy could direct.
The man is, as a director, I'm not ashamed to say, as a person, I'm not a fan of Kanye West by any means, but that man is talented. I'll give him that.
I've actually okay. No, I don't want to get into Kanye West because
Yeah, please don't. You know what? Moving on.
'Cause no,
rewind, delete.
I don't think I've ever actually heard a song by Kanye West. So I'm gonna.
World so heartless. Oh,
If
I'm
people
gonna stop
actually-
there before they start.
If people actually watch this show, they would leave a comment, but there might be a couple of you.
We'll see. We'll see. For any of those that have been, checking out our channels, thank you. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
This is for fun for us.
Yeah, it is.
But
We're not making money.
No. Maybe one day, but that's a pipe dream.
Yeah, we have jobs.
Thank God.
So yeah, so they're having their fling, and then we get our Hitchcock sighting. Did you see him?
I didn't.
Oh,
He appears in every single film he's done,
does.
like a little cameo.
And here's why he did it at the beginning, because the audiences knew to look for him, and he didn't want them taking their thoughts away from the film and looking for him.
Smart.
He did it right at the beginning, so they would know. So it's her walking into her office. Mm-hmm. You see him standing on the street with a cowboy hat, doing his side thing that he does because the
yes, the silhouette.
Yeah, he's got a great silhouette there. Everyone knows it
from
from his TV show.
Yeah.
Hitchcock
Presents, I believe, was the
yeah.
And
that was sponsored by Ford, and that'll come into play.
Later. Yes.
The
cars. I'm a
I love
sucker
old cars.
for those classic.
Get a Ford Fairlane going. Oh,
those. To them, those were just the cars
It was
of
every
the
day.
times.
Yeah.
But they're gorgeous.
Oh, yeah.
There's an art to them. But
now, rich guy comes in. He's buying a house for $40,000.
and not afraid to flash the cash around.
Oh, he's paying in cash. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And
$40K. Do you know how much that is nowadays?
how much?
$416,000. That's like a briefcase of money.
That is about a mid-level home nowadays, depending on where you live. I mean, out here, I would say it's a upper mid-level home.
Yeah, you'd be sitting pretty with a
Yeah.
$400,000 house out here.
At the time of that we started this conversation, because by the end I finished the sentence, it's probably gone up a couple thousand.
Yeah, and we're in one of the, for housing markets, we're in a pretty low market, aren't we?
I mean, it's not too bad. I mean, we have recovered a little bit after COVID. I will say that.
I just mean like cheap wise.
But, yeah.
Like I'm currently shopping for homes, and
Yeah. They are
they're a
much
lot
better.
compared to like California and New York.
Even
we're-
Utah.
Oh, I bet, yeah.
Yeah, California, New York, Utah, Colorado's got even a little. Well, Colorado's has a lot of areas that are up and coming. Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy crap! We just went on a tangent.
Yeah, we
about
did another
housing.
tangent about housing. I'm like, why are these guys talking about housing?
You know what? All the adults out there probably get it. Like, no, this is
Right, no.
this is real.
They're like, wait,
This
where
happens.
specifically do you guys live? Like, I'm shopping in the 85,000 to 100,000 range.
Yeah.
Now, but we're not going to say what city.
Yeah,
Those are my houses.
exactly. If you really, really want to, Missouri is a good place for housing.
Yeah,
Just
go
gonna
over
throw it
there.
But they have some looser definitions on what a house is. I'm only saying that because I lived out there, and
All right, we're harping too much on houses.
we are.
People are clicking
Sorry,
out.
guys. Sorry. Move on.
So now we hit. So Marion is now currently dressed in all black. So she has a black bra and a black slip. Previous, she had the all white slip and bra, and this is when it shows that she stole the money.
No, after she, the guy comes in flirting with her, just flashing the cash around and being. He even did the little thing after mentioning their boss having some libations in the office.
Yeah, they were going to be heading back into the office to do some drinking.
Yeah, and yeah, then after that, she's like, I have to leave. I've got a headache. Takes the cash, puts it in her purse, heads out to the bank.
Yeah, well, and this is so Hitchcock's idea here was he's going to dress her in all white to show that she's angelic, quote unquote, and then
It's good.
put her in all black as soon as she has committed a crime. So now it's obvious. Okay, she's doing something wrong.
She's no longer.
That's what he was
that
shooting for. He was kind of laying it on thick.
No, it is, but and even then, like a freaking Jennifer Lay's in that entire scene when she's Janet. I was thinking of Brad Pack, Fast Times. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But
Yeah,
I mean,
Jennifer
Janet
Jason
Leigh.
Leigh,
Janet Leigh. That entire scene when she's packing up and she's in her black bra, she doesn't utter a word, but her acting, it's all in the face.
Oh,
and
no,
with
yeah.
the music, which again.
And I actually have that here, right here. Again, the music is amazing.
Oh yeah, the music accompanied with her facial expressions, you can see the internal struggle. She has not fully yet committed to stealing the money.
Right.
She is still wrestling with the thought of it, and I love it. I mean, that acting done more with it's perfect.
And what's great about the music, it's only strings.
Oh,
There's nothing else. There's no horns, no woodwind, no
The-
drum. It's only strings.
Yeah, just string orchestra style.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Which we will get into with the most iconic part of the film.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
sure.
for sure. So she goes taking off and sees her boss.
Yeah, and at first, oh my gosh.
That's awesome. He's like, double take, wait a minute. You said you're going to be in bed. You had a headache. And then he just kind of shrugs it off like, okay, maybe she's getting a snack or something.
She at that point, that's when the anxiety sets in.
Right.
And
then you get the cop.
oh yeah.
Okay, so an interaction like that, like what she does with the cop, would not fly today.
Oh no.
You'd be pulled out of the car. You'd be detained.
Ma'am, please step out of the vehicle.
Yeah. Have you been drinking?
Because
Are you on drugs?
As soon as she saw the officer, she went to, I mean, okay, not going to say that with all police officers, you know, there might
Sure.
be a couple that would do exactly like this gentleman, or there might be some out there, you know.
This guy was really patient.
Yeah, like, no, hold on now.
Right.
You know,
Can I go now?
Sorry about our new setup, guys, by the way. This is, so
We're,
we might be getting
we're
more,
trying different stuff.
like,
Yeah, this thing has a
hands.
really wide angle. We're
Yeah.
looking into new cameras, and we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We're just talking about movies. That's all I want to do.
And we're having fun and
Yeah.
putting a little bit of extra into it. But anyways, yeah, he's like, hold on now, and trying not to put my hands up in that camera.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Um,
Getting used to this.
yeah, and she, you know, he was just patient, like, you know, is everything okay? Is, you know, being super nice, at least, you know, and does his job still, gets her driver's license, which I noticed the flimsy paper, and something I also did some research on because I noticed a lot of the cars didn't have seatbelts. Seatbelts were invented in around 1950, but they weren't mandated in California until 1986.
Interesting.
Yeah, so a lot of people were still resistant, and I'm pretty sure automobile companies were still fairly resistant to the seatbelt. So around the time frame 1960, that's why I don't see a lot of seatbelts.
They were actually putting out PSAs back in the early 80s about
Yeah.
wearing seatbelts and things like that. Fun fact, when I was a teenager, I was 17, I had a 1967 Mustang. I got pulled over. I had 4 other teenagers of friends in the back seat. And the cop is like, hey, why don't they have seatbelts on? I'm like, sir, this is a 1967. Under 1972, you are not required to have seatbelts. So it was considered a classic.
Yeah, and if you install those seatbelts, that could damage the value.
That's true.
That
Yeah,
is-
I don't.
if
Yeah,
you
I assume
keep-
that it's something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, there's a whole lot of things, and here we go going back on.
Yeah, we're on
cars again.
seatbelts and cars now.
It's the car.
We'll get through this.
This movie's awesome, but
We got to learn from Postal. That was 2 hours.
right. So, yeah, and one thing I do want to point out is the license plate ANL709.
What do you got?
Anal.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Beef curtains.
Beef
if you
curtains.
watched the last video,
Go
you'll
back
get
and
it.
check out the Goonies, and then you'll get the beef curtains.
I couldn't help myself. I had to point that. Also, there was a lot of really like traffic cone shaped bras.
It was 1960. We're still coming out of the 50s there.
Yeah, you
That was
know
really
about
popular at
that.
the time.
You'll poke your
We
eye
hadn't
out.
hit the late 60s yet with the freedom movement and all that.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's get back to the movie.
And then right here, for that, I did have Marion suspicious as hell with the traffic stop, or when she fell asleep and the police officer was, and all the way up until
Well, he sensed something was off with her,
yeah,
and he was right. There was something off. She'd stolen $40,000.
which, pretty penny even by today's standards.
Oh yeah, yeah. So where am I going with this?
So
She's been seen by him, and she's been seen by the cop. So she's starting to get the paranoia in her head. Okay, I've been seen. So, but she keeps going at this point. My question is, so I did some research on this, and it shows a sign that says Los Angeles is to the left 68 miles, and to the right it's Bakersfield 44 miles. And I looked it up, and it was filmed in Gorman, California, which I guess is about right. It's smack dab in between them off the I-5 on the Grapevine. And if you're from California, you probably know what I'm talking about. And there's nothing in Gorman except for the Sunflower Festival. It's a podunk town with a pull off.
Yeah.
But this cop follows her to go buy a car. So this cop is behind her at least 44 miles or 68 miles.
I mean, he
because she's
takes-
heading north, so it had to be Bakersfield. So it's 44 miles.
Yeah, I mean, there was the scene where he takes off, in a.
He does, but then he does,
He somehow loops around.
and sees her buying a car.
Literally gets out of his vehicle and is just like, leaning against his car, checking her out.
Yeah, and
He
yeah,
might have
what
been
is he doing?
infatuated
Like,
with
what does
her.
he care? She's buying
I
a car.
Janet Leigh was
I guess
really
it's
attractive in this film.
That's
Which
true.
I see where Jamie Lee
She was
Curtis
banging,
gets
that's true,
her
yeah.
good looks.
But she did have an out-of-state license plate. That's kind of weird to be buying a car in a different state and not your hometown.
That wasn't really that common then. Whereas nowadays, I mean, we all do a lot more moving, I feel.
That's true. Even now, I mean, I buy in my hometown.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, yeah, you know, you're from California. I moved here from Missouri and moved to Missouri from Utah. So, like, yeah. And that was
I've bounced around the whole Western United States, I guess.
Yeah, and that's within, like, what, 5 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's versus then, yeah, you probably didn't do as much travel.
Now, the actual car lot they used is now a BMW lot. It's
Really?
It was across the street from the studio in Los Angeles.
It would have been more.
It was a
ironic
Ford
if it
lot.
was- exactly.
And this is where Ford comes in because
Yeah.
Ford was a sponsor of the Hitchcock Hour.
Which makes total sense because in one of the shots, the way the car is parked, you see literally Ford like practically dead center in the screen.
I'm sure it was kind of a hey Ford guys, thanks for sponsoring my show. Keep doing it. You know,
Oh
that
yeah,
sort of thing.
and that's how sponsorship works even to this day. So it's kind of nice to see that the sponsorship really hasn't changed that much. And although back then it was more of a you know, hey, we're doing this because we appreciate it. You know, you put their logo and stuff. Whereas nowadays, I think it's more of a requirement.
Right. Yeah.
But I digress.
So she buys the car. Mm-hmm. The cop kind of rolls over.
Pressuring the salesman.
Right, and you hear some talking. Okay, so she drives away, but then you hear the talking over of the cop talking to the salesman. And
the back and forth, yes, I liked that where it was like, and she's sitting there still.
The whole time it's facial acting. She's not talking, and it's great.
No, she's still getting a little anxiety and everything. You can see that, and you hear the background from like her sister Lila, or no, they were talking about her sister Lila, her coworker and
with
all
the
that.
boss, and like she worked for me for 10 years, and
she seduced
the $40,000 guy, the businessman, he's getting pissed off, and so it's all voiceover
and
of her driving.
The cop and the salesman, all that stuff and everything. But then you also slowly see her face shift into a smirk where she's like,
I noticed that. It's kind of a
again, like that. It's awesome.
And
I loved it.
This was filmed on the I-99 between Fresno and Bakersfield. If you've ever been on there, there's nothing.
Which, makes total sense for
nothing
this.
there.
Yeah.
I mean, between L.A. and Bakersfield, nothing. Between Bakersfield and Fresno, nothing.
And then, of course, with that, then the rain starts coming down.
Mm-hmm.
Which,
and she can't see.
Oh, yeah. I totally got that because from being moving here from Missouri, the rain pours almost like, I want to say 300 days out of the year.
And this must have been an El Nino year or something for California, because it doesn't do that in California.
Oh, see, like that.
It's not common, at least.
Yeah, that was so common in Missouri, where like you have the windshield wipers going full blast. I'm talking modern day windshield wipers, and you still can't see squat.
Right, and these are the old school. Yeah. They weren't working very well. So she arrives at the Base Motel.
Yes.
We're there.
Dun, dun, dun.
So, and we get our first look at the house. You ever seen the house?
Oh, yeah, of course. Like, that house is, even having not seen the film officially until, we did this review, I knew that house right away. It's been...
Have you ever seen the house in real life?
No.
I have.
Lucky.
It's at the Universal Backlot Tour.
Really?
Yeah. You can go... They moved it from the studio back when things were bought and shifting, and it's one of the big attractions.
We need to go.
Last time I went, that was like 20 years ago, but I assume it's still there.
We need to see if we can find that and then do like a Universal tour or something for one of our channels one days if we get big enough.
Okay.
I'd be down.
Yeah.
Just because
I'm cool with that.
I know how much like history is on there. I mean, Universal, you're talking a studio that's been around since, the original, Frankenstein.
They started all the Universal monsters, yeah.
Oh, yeah. They are probably the ones responsible for, starting the horror franchise as we know it. Not the original horror, or I'm talking about the original horror films.
Oh, we're gonna do an expose of Universal monsters and things like that. I have things in my head that I want to do that.
But
I'm trying
appreciate history.
I'm trying to stick to the movie.
I know it's so hard.
Okay, so and then and there's a woman who walks by the window of the house. She sees the silhouette of a woman walk by the window of the house, and that's your first glimpse at Mother.
Yeah, and
then Norman comes running down.
And she comes down and ding 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 ding
She's
ding ding.
She's honking.
Yeah, honk. Yeah, no, that you're right. She was honking. I don't know where I got the ding ding. I think that's later on.
Yeah, probably with Sam and we'll get to that.
Arbogast.
Oh yeah, him. And they're about 10 miles away from Fairvale, California, fictional town. They made it up for the movie. Maybe they didn't want to associate a real town with that sort of thing. There's not much out there.
Oh, yeah. It's funny that you bring up the Fairvale because, I'll save that towards the end. But,
okay.
Yeah.
And then, so Norman invites her to dinner. She checks in with a fake name.
Yeah.
And Norman invites her to dinner.
Maria Samuels?
Yes. Marissa, yeah. Marissa, Maria. Yeah, Maria, you're right. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
I remember that because they mention it later on as well as the scene we're about to get to.
Oh, okay. He invites her to dinner, and this kind of made a point in my head. It's like, okay, so you have the checkout guy at the motel. Hey, you want to have dinner with me?
Yeah.
In 1960, I suppose it was a lot safer than nowadays to say, hey, yeah, sure, make me a sandwich,
Yeah, it's at that point it was just being genuinely friendly, and Anthony Perkins plays the sweet, innocent, just friendly motel owner so perfectly. I mean, just to a T. I mean, not gonna lie, if I was in that situation and he was like, "Hey, why don't you come up and have some sandwiches?" Okay, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, he literally has no vibes of.
Yeah, he seems like a great guy.
Yeah.
Norman seems normal.
Yeah. Normal Norman.
Yeah. And then she hears them arguing. The mom and Norman.
Yeah.
Yeah. That doesn't go over well.
Yeah, I'd have her reaction too, probably. But you know what? I've caused you some problems, dude. I'm sorry. Yeah.
And then Marion and Norman, they're talking. They do some character. This is character development for Norman. Because we're just now meeting him 35 minutes into the movie. So they got to build him up quick.
Oh, yeah. And, I mean, they did it excellently.
Yes.
Excellent.
This is the 10-minute talking scene in the parlor.
Yeah. But you could argue, is this a little long? But every single second of it is almost essential because in that, and all the foreshadowing, you see all the stuffed birds, you see the, and note what kind of birds they are, and the way he's talking, he's slow. I mean, he's stuttering. He's kind of fidgeting a little bit. But as the conversation progresses towards have you thought about putting your mother someplace?
Right.
His kind of almost like...
Oh, he gets mad.
Oh, yeah. His demeanor, complete 180. He goes from being that kind of fidgety, shy guy to, you mean a madhouse? Have you been to one of those places? But it's that nice, reserved anger. The way he acts it out is just...
Now, I remember in my Exorcist review, I was thinking, okay, there's a ton of talking and I'm bored. It hit that point where I was like, okay, I'm about to be bored. And then he got mad. And I was like, okay, you suck me back in, let's go.
Oh, but the entire time, you can see, I mean, he's smiling and he's still playing the nice motel owner. But there's that subtle, reserved anger there still.
Oh, yeah. No, well, I mean, we know he's insane. But she doesn't know that.
Yeah, but she can tell that she's offended him. The acting is just superb right there. Because it's those subtle facial features and those tones. It's not just the dialogue.
Oh, no, the facial features. No. Anthony Perkins nailed this.
Oh, yeah.
This was his role. This was his role.
Oh, yeah. He is to Norman Bates what Anthony Hopkins, hey, another Anthony, is to Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah.
You could probably find someone, okay, Mads Mikkelsen did a great job. Tangent, moving on. But finding another, no offense to Kurt Paul, Vince Vaughn, but it's so hard to nail that.
I 100% offense to them.
I'm trying to be a nice guy in case they ever watch this show.
They're not. So I'm not worried about it.
Oh my God.
Something I caught here though in their talking scene. Norman talks about his mother's second lover, husband /
Yes.
And how it was interesting how they died, especially the way he died. He doesn't say, not they. because he still thinks his mom's alive. But especially the way he does. So that, to me, that was a hint that Norman did it.
Oh, there was a lot of...
There's a couple that this is the first hint that I hear.
He mentions his interest in taxidermy. He mentions she's as harmless as the stuffed birds on the wall.
In regards, though, to the is Psycho a slasher, this could be, it's not on screen, a hint towards his first body.
It could be.
So, and that's just the first hint. It's not confirmed yet.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. To confirmation.
Moving on.
So, okay, so they leave. And she says, I'm tired, I want to go to sleep. Take a shower and go to sleep. Now, Mr. Peeping Tom pulls out the thing. He's looking. She's still got the black lace on, the black bra, the black slip. Now, at 44 minutes and 47 seconds, this is the one I was telling you about where we were doing I was like, okay, is that a boobie? And that would have blown me away for a 1960 Alfred Hitchcock movie to show a boobie.
Especially during the coded era. You know,
oh, yeah.
MPAA.
This was, they were really cracking down.
Oh, yeah, a little.
You couldn't do it. You couldn't talk about cops in a negative way. You can talk about the military in a negative way. You can have nudity. You can have beds together.
Toilet flushing.
You couldn't have the. Yeah, exactly. We talked about that, right?
Not yet.
Oh, we're not to that yet.
We'll
get to that's coming right up after this. So, at that time, 44, 47, if you go frame by frame by frame, it looks like when she puts her robe on, her titty pops out.
Yeah.
But there's no nipple. So
she might have been wearing I don't know if they, nowadays I would say pasty or something like that, but
it's hard to, it all looks a uniform color.
Yeah.
So it could have been an undershirt,
especially with the black and white, they could probably get away with a little bit more.
A slip, a bra, something like that. It's really hard to say. There's only like 4 frames of it.
Yeah.
And we're really harping on Janet Leigh's boobie a little too much.
Sorry, Jamie Lee Curtis.
Well, yeah, because she's watching. Sure.
Right. Hey, you never know. 10 years down the line, and be like, oh, hey, just she sees this.
Oh, she's retired and old folks now. I'm like, what are these guys talking? My mom, oh sweet.
Why are you talking about her boobie? I kicked Michael Myers' ass. I'll kick your ass.
That'd be great,
right? I would happily die at her hands.
Yeah. So
I can't believe I have that on record now.
So he's peeping. Well, he's peeping her, and then we get to she's doing the math on the paper and she tears it up.
Yep.
And we get to the toilet, and she flushes it.
Yeah. First time, at least that we know of in American history.
First time in America.
Yeah, outside of America, no idea. But first time in American cinema history, that was the first instance of a toilet. Yes, it's at an angle, and it's only for, 3-5 seconds? Yeah. Being flushed on cinema, which was a big deal at the time.
Like when they did bathroom scenes in other movies, you just didn't show the toilet. The FCC did not want a toilet showed in movies.
Yeah.
Because of the this is how hard the coding was back then.
No, and nowadays, I mean, I swear almost every film at least has one toilet scene.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
And the only way they got away with it was because it was integral to the plot. She had to tear that up because her sister is going to come and then find something later.
Mm-hmm.
So that
Can't
connected
throw it
everything.
Anywhere else.
Yeah, no trash can.
Yeah.
Well, she wanted to get rid of the evidence. You flush it.
Exactly. And you can't burn it.
Yeah. And then...
Or, I mean, you could have, but, I mean...
We are to the famous... One of the most famous shots in cinema history.
Yes. Famous score. Mm-hmm. Famous...
And we wouldn't have had that score if Alfred Hitchcock's...
reenacted out of other horror films,
Oh, that's true, yeah. If Hitchcock's wife hadn't said, hey, you need music in this scene, he was going to do it with no music.
Which, honestly, I'm glad his wife said something because it said that is the most iconic.
The music brings it up so much. And it's not just that, but it's the afterwards of that.
It is a perfect...
Do-do, that sort of thing.
That is the perfect... That right there is probably the perfect example of edge of your seat suspense to be used in a film, because you see the door slowly open, still silent, no music. You see...
Oh, yeah. Oh, the silhouette of the mom. Yeah. Oh, man.
And then it's still... no music. Mm-hmm. But then as soon as she
Yep.
rips. That's the one. The music immediate crescendo.
Amazing cinema. Amazing cinema.
Oh
Just,
yeah,
yeah.
because that right there, and I'm gonna lie, like having seen this scene, not even the film, but having seen the scene multiple times, that right there,
Now-
it was like edge of my seat and immediate, like my heart just rate immediately went up. But as soon as those strings,
Janet
started.
Leigh here. There was a body double used, but her face and everything is on screen. Anne Hesh had nothing on this. Anne Hesh is in the '98 with Vince Vaughn. She plays the Marion Crane character.
Okay.
Nothing.
Oh,
Not even close. Janet Leigh nails it. So-
Yeah, I mean the screams. Apparently, like she was allegedly, from what I've read, she was so traumatized by that scene. Afterwards, she couldn't shower anymore. Like she had to take baths with.
She took baths for the rest of her life. Yeah.
Yeah, and which is speaking to the power of this scene. Like,
Yeah, and that was her seeing it on film, not her just filming it. She saw it on film, and that's what traumatized her. That's me. This is happening to.
I think it's, we've all might have been there, once or twice, as kids. Like you think you hear something, you're in the shower, you're vulnerable.
You're washing your hair, so your eyes are closed.
Yeah,
and,
so you kind of quickly get the soap shampoo out of your eyes, and you look and you're like, what was that?
And this had more skin than I remembered.
Yeah,
For
for a 60s
for a
film?
1960s, so we're just out of the 50s.
Mm-hmm.
And and then the blood, everyone knows.
That was chocolate syrup.
It was Bosco chocolate syrup, and you can still buy Bosco chocolate syrup if you go to their website.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
I always wanted a blood chocolate syrup.
We could totally do that. But right now, let's go take a break. And we're back, and I've forgotten something about the shower scene. He focuses on her eye. There's a close up on her eye, and he just pulls back and keeps pulling back. There's no music, and it's awesome.
I don't even think there's really music in the aftermath one. Blood, oh blood, mother, what have you done? The entire scene. I mean, the scene some might argue that it's drawn out with Norman Bates cleaning up the area, but. Honestly, I think every second of that is almost a necessity.
I think it's to show that he's taking care of his mother.
Yeah, and that he's had to do this before.
Right. This is not a new thing.
Very thorough.
But yeah, in the it's Mother, oh God, Mother, blood. They took the bass out of the audio, so he would sound more of a teenager kind of voice, less manly type of thing, to make it sound more, son. I guess. Yeah.
Show a more submissive role to the mother.
Yeah, and that comes into play. I'm assuming. You know what? I'm just going to assume everyone's seen this. He's the mother, so
even if you haven't seen it, like I knew the twist.
Right.
Before
Everyone knows the twist of this.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's to pull
It's on
that.
par with Sixth Sense.
He's the submissive of the two identities. Yeah,
Yes.
personalities. So he's getting grossed out by this. Like he kind of does a kind of thing.
Oh yeah, I mean
and that shows that he doesn't know that he's doing it when it's happening.
Oh yeah,
and the psychiatrist goes into that at the end. But yeah. And what I thought was funny. Okay, so this is back when you could fit bodies in a trunk.
Oh,
the size that was multiple bodies you could fit in that thing.
The size of that trunk space. I mean, I noticed.
Ford had it going on.
That when he pulls her vehicle up and it has the perfect almost dead center shot. I want to say of the Ford name.
Yeah.
And
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's one thing I noticed. Like everything on that vehicle is massive. Like the inside, the vehicle itself, the steering wheel.
Up until the 70s, even, because I know all the old gangster movies. They'd throw bodies in the trunk and everything. That's how they threw them out in the Nevada desert.
Put the bodies in the trunk. Put the bodies in the trunk.
That's right.
Put the bodies in the...
Yeah. And so he sinks that thing in a swamp. There's no swamps in California, so I'd call it either like a pond or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I get
With
you.
the money.
Yeah, he wasn't even motivated. Like he wasn't even aware of the money.
Wasn't even aware. It was in the newspaper at this point. She wrapped it up in the newspaper. He grabbed it, threw it in with her body, didn't even know it was in there.
Mm-hmm.
I would have felt it. This doesn't feel like newspaper. Something's weird in here.
He was that had so little concern for money or anything.
Yeah,
his
he's
only
cleaning it
concern
up.
was protecting.
Yeah,
Mother.
a car drove by, and he
Stop.
kind of sets everything down, like, you know.
I think he even stopped. Oh no, that was after when he pushed it into, pulls out somewhere. At that point, I noticed he kept pulling stuff out of his pocket, and yeah, found out yes, it was candy corn. They don't actually show it until later, which was Anthony Perkins' idea because it was like a, like bird seed, and I guess the reason why Hitchcock chose Anthony Perkins is because he had bird-like features.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, which is a big motif in this film.
That's cool. And the car, I like how the car kind of stops sinking, and he's like, and then it starts sinking again. He's like, oh, okay, cool.
Almal just kind of like chewing on his bird seed.
Enter Lila Crane, played by Vera Miles.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's the sister of Marion.
Which this is probably, again, where, just such a huge twist in horror films. Who you thought was the, could be, I guess, the traditional final girl or even the main,
and
character.
This is why Hitchcock told the managers of cinemas, don't let anyone in after it starts. Because of this. Who you think is going to be the main person dies 47 minutes in.
I mean, that right there, I would say that something like that was definitely inspiration for. Yes, I believe it was Drew Barrymore's idea, but the first Scream
Oh yeah,
film,
yeah.
like
Put
something
the big name in the beginning and then kill her off.
Yeah. Brilliant. That's how you get those.
Oh yeah.
That's how.
No,
you
yeah,
get
and yeah, it absolutely, and of course Scream. Well, nobody watched Scream, so it wasn't a hit. But oh wait, yeah, it was. So everyone's looking for Marion. Sister, Sam.
Lila, Sam.
Detective
Arbogast.
They're all looking for her. And Arbogast, a lot of talking there. We'll skip that. Arbogast goes to the motel and starts talking with Norman.
And Norman's doing great. He's got his story straight and everything. And then Arbogast starts poking little holes here and there.
Yeah.
And that's when he starts stuttering again. The confidence.
You notice that? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so fantastic the way he does this, the stammering and stuttering and I'm just a little nervous and that sort of thing.
Yeah, that is honestly, his acting is just phenomenal.
He nails this. Like,
oh yeah.
If they were doing horror movies back then for Academy Awards, he should have been up there.
Psycho should have won an award for motion picture
Yeah, they just didn't recognize horror back then. They thought it was schlock, and even if it was well done.
Yeah, what said it took all the way until Silence of the Lambs for it to get nominated or to win.
Right. Yeah, Exorcist was nominated.
Exorcist was nominated.
Okay. Yeah.
So, but didn't win.
So there's a line here that detective is talking to Norman, and he says, "If it doesn't gel, this isn't aspic, and this ain't gelling." Did you look it up? I looked up what aspic was.
It's like it's a meat jelly.
This is back when people were weird in the 40s and 50s. They were making jellies of everything.
Yeah, like with hot dogs and
when I looked up,
whatever.
Where I found this out, it had a picture of shrimp, a piece of shrimp, in Jello, or like clear Jello. It was weird.
Yeah,
and this is that weird stuff they did gelatinize mayonnaise. Like the 50s was really strange when it came to food.
But we all have. Every decade has that. I think 80s it became microwaving everything.
That was 70s.
Oh, yeah. 70s microwave everything.
Yeah, actually, but they were super expensive still. So 80s is when it was more commonplace.
Yeah. No, nowadays I swear it's air frying. Can you air fry it?
Oh yeah, I didn't even think of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have one, but yeah, I have an oven. I do the old school air frying.
Yeah. It's the go-to. It's the new gelatin.
Yeah.
It's
So
the new aspic.
Detective calls Lila, tells her what's going up or what's going on and all that, and then he goes back to the motel and goes to the house, and he walks up the stairs,
Yeah.
and then what happens?
Mother, again, no music until the first strike hits.
It's awesome the way this is shot.
Yeah, it
of
just
him
comes-
doing the going down the stairs.
Oh, like falling back.
Amazing.
Used multiple times in other things too.
Mhm.
Yes, and at this point, this is officially on-screen murder number dos.
Now in Vertigo, have you seen Vertigo? Hitchcock 58.
No.
There's a similar the way he did the shot and all that. I didn't look into it. I kind of wonder if this is how he did it. It's the camera falls away from him, the person, or something like that.
So he's not actually falling. It's the
He's doing the motions and the camera's moving back.
Yeah,
That's what they did in Vertigo. I actually saw it on the Universal tour.
oh nice.
That was back when Hitchcock was way bigger.
Oh, which I mean, like the
Like
cinematography
8
on this is just shows that how brilliant he was as a cinematographer.
Oh yeah,
Because
He knew what he was
tricks of
doing.
the angle, like the angling and everything. There are certain things. The special effects, in some ways, on this film were better than even some more recent films or even some
yeah.
newer films.
yeah.
I mean, Exorcist, yeah, one of the things I noticed is, like, you could see the wires and everything. I mean, you really had to sit and eyeball some things, like in the shower, after the shower scene. I mean, pretty sure the body was wearing some kind of skin-colored clothing because of just slight rippling, as well as I noticed in the shower curtain there was a black band around the waist.
And they probably want to take a chance with FCC and all that, with the codes and all that.
But it's so, like, glimpse and, blink and you miss it almost.
Right.
It's like, so it's just done so, like, well to a T.
So that's 2 bodies on screen.
Yep.
We got 2 now. On screen. And Sam goes looking for the detective.
Yep.
Because he was supposed to call or be back to Lila and the is it Lila? Jeez, I already
Yep,
forgot.
Lila.
And Sam in an hour. And it's been 3 hours. So Sam goes looking and doesn't find him. Goes to the local sheriff.
Yep. And Lila shows up then, right?
Lila goes with him to the sheriff. And the sheriff references some bad business that happened 10 years ago.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I would say that at that point, that was 10 minutes before the reveal of the twist. So about, like, an hour and 15 minutes in?
Yeah, we're in the last.
This is the final
We're
act.
closing out, yeah. Yeah, we're closing out. Now, the bombshell gets dropped here from the sheriff and everything.
Yeah, after that, they're talking and he talks to Norman Bates, and then and it's like, well, and then that's when the real twist reveal happens.
Right.
Is that
now, imagine
all
seeing this in
24 minutes.
1960. We even before seeing it, like, we would have known. Even as a kid, somebody had told me somewhere Norman Bates was the mother, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But just being in 1960, this hadn't been done.
Yeah.
So yeah, this was that's why this thing was such a stinking hit.
I mean, and even knowing the twist, the way it was delivered still has a little bit of punch to it.
Yeah, no, yeah, absolutely. And then it's
Again, like Sixth Sense. I mean, I knew the twist ending on that one,
Sure.
and the film was done so well that I forgot about the twist ending. This is an example of, like, that, where I'm not saying I forgot it, but I was waiting to see how they were going to do it, and the way they did, I was like, oh, it was good. It was fantastic.
and
Amazing.
So the mother and the lover or second husband, I assume, because it's 1960. Has been dead for 10. They've been dead for 10 years. Supposedly strychnine poisoning by the mother, and that's what the sheriff thinks happened.
Yeah, and then did it herself.
But was it her? Oh, so we might have 2 more bodies off screen.
Yeah.
So let's get to Sam and Lila. They're going undercover.
Yeah.
They're going to the motel. There are a couple.
After a nice little talk with the sheriff and everything, like, after Sunday services, and the sheriff's like, "We've been there already. Everything's good. Everything's fine."
Yep.
Excuse me.
He's a hermit, but he's a good kid. That's sort of thing.
But they're like, again, speaking to the small town mentality.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then, so they decide that answer's not good enough, so they go out there.
Mm-hmm.
They think he did it for the money.
Right. Yeah. And then Sam is talking to him like, drawing his attention because.
Lila.
Wait. Lila. Yeah. See, what I have written is I have her real name.
Oh, yes.
And then her stage name. So I'm getting in them. I was right and I'm wrong.
Yeah. Sam was being a little aggressive with him.
Right. And like, where's the money? That sort of thing.
Oh, no, that was before. Well, I was even before that when he's sitting here talking like, I want to sign the books because this is 90% business. And I need a receipt. Like, he was being, he was almost like muscling him. I mean, Anthony Perkins didn't look like I'm pretty sure the height, he looked like he was above average height for the time. But Sam is easily just as tall, but more muscular than him.
Right.
So, he's using you could tell he's trying to intimidate this scrawny dude into, getting his way, because he's wanting that information.
Right. And then they rent a room. They work up a plan. Like, Sam's going to divert his attention and that sort of thing. And Lila's going to go up to the house. And this is where Sam is doing hey, you're going to want to get away from here, that sort of thing. What takes that? You need money for that, right?
Yeah, and
that sort of thing.
Like,
40,000.
slowly builds up to a point where he is just flat out like he's not even being subtle anymore.
Right.
He's being a full-blown angry meathead.
Right, and all the time Vera's up in the house. Now this is funny. At least to me, it was gross and funny. So Vera's snooping around in the house, and she sees the imprint of the body on the bed. But it cuts to a Beethoven record.
Yeah.
Symphony.
Rourke?
It's it's Beethoven's Symphony Number 3, but in giant parentheses it says Eroica. Now, when I first saw it, I was like, oh, let me Google that. Eroica Symphony. What's that? And then all the images were blurred. And I'm like, why are the images blurred? What is going on here? So I clicked it. If you want to see, go ahead and Google Eroica Symphony. I don't know why this stuff came up. Not my bag. If you're into it, go nuts. I don't care. But
let's get a little
I thought I was looking up symphonic music of classic orchestras, but I wasn't. Oh no, you're not going to look it up, are you? Symphony. I put symphony. It was Eroica Symphony. Because Eroica sounds. I get it. It sounds a lot like erotica.
Yeah.
But.
Huh.
Wait, no, this isn't right at all. Did I misspell it? Eroica Symphony?
Yeah.
Maybe it autocorrected to like Erotica Symphony or something.
It might have.
It could have. It very well could have. Anyways, it was gross. I'm gonna move on. You go ahead and keep trying to find that. I'll show you afterwards. It's probably in my history. So Norman and Sam end up struggling.
Yeah.
You're still trying to find this.
I want a legitimate reaction.
Okay. Symphony, yeah. Okay.
No?
Wait. You're on moderate.
Oh.
That's why.
Off. Holy fudge. Okay.
Now try with Eroica. Yeah, there you go.
What the fudge?
See all that? All the...
On the chest, too.
And it's about the hair. It's about the hair for some reason. Right? See the hair?
On the chest. That's the one
that's what I'm getting.
Oh my god.
Like,
oh my, this is like some Frida Kahlo level. Like, no offense to her. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So, anyways. Yeah, we're done with that. So, back to the movie. So Norman and Sam are struggling. Norman knocks him out with some block thing.
It was like just like some china or some like you probably have grandparents that keep that stuff in there.
Yeah, something like that.
What's the word I'm looking for?
Knick-knack?
Yeah.
Hey, all right.
Let's go with that.
Nailed it. Knocked him
Curio
out.
cabinet. Stuff.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Some
Yeah.
stuff in there. Okay.
Norman goes running up to the house.
Yeah. Vera, a.k.a.
Lila.
Yeah, got me.
I keep
in
saying,
now.
I'm getting them
Goes
in my
and
head.
sees
They're
him, and instead of run upstairs, flips around and goes to.
Mm-hmm. We see Mother, because she's hiding in the cellar.
He goes down to waits for him to go up the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, it might take me a little bit. I'm still got those images in my head.
Right. And then this is the boom. Mom's dead. Spins around. Got the skeleton, and it's a cool skeleton. It's not just a hokey William Castle skeleton. It's,
no, like the kind you get.
There's like skin still on it. And
the nose is still like the actual nose. And it's like
it's withering for sure.
Mummified almost.
Yeah, there you go. Mummified. Yeah, it's really cool looking.
Speaks to the fact that, again, Norman Bates learned taxidermy.
I never thought of that. I didn't connect that. Oh, that's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Because, well, when the sheriff starts talking about, like, they swap bodies or he must have and that sort of thing. Yeah, he must have done the taxidermy. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought of that. And then here comes Norman with a knife. And then I feel like the music kicked in right there.
Yeah.
Because I say, again, the music is amazing. Mm-hmm. And Sam saves the day.
Yeah, Sam comes in and then restrains him.
Actually, you know what? No, you're good. Go ahead.
Yeah. Sam comes in, restrains him, and, wig falls off and everything. And Norman is like, almost seems like he's in pain. Because it's like Sam was ripping that identity from him.
Yeah, he broke him out of it before he should have, kind of like waking a walking sleepwalker kind of thing. Yeah, absolutely.
So again, just speaks volumes to the level of acting they did in this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, amazing.
And then he's arrested. The psychiatrist comes out, and Norman's no longer there. This is just the mother now that we're dealing with, and he kind of explains everything to everybody.
Yeah, and one of this parts where it's like, well, why did he dress up?
Careful on using that word. I don't know if we're allowed to use that anymore.
Yeah, and someone literally just blurts out a particular word. He's a
right. Yeah,
and I couldn't help but laugh because the guy's like, he's just. Which also speaks volumes to the level of, the attitude of the era. But at the same time, the mental health professional's like, no.
Well, he explains what at the time
that word meant.
What that word meant to the clinical.
Yeah, but
area,
then which also kind of speaks volumes of how we've come as a society with the mental health. But again, he still redirects it, and he's like, "No, what
it's
he
not
has is
it's a split personality."
Yeah, rebranding to, I guess you could say rebranding, but to the more the modern term of dissociative identity disorder.
Mm-hmm. Now, the psychiatrist says, "You got any missing persons cases?" Yeah, 2 girls.
2 females.
Uh-huh. And then
check the swamps.
Yeah, you might want to start dredging because
there's some
stuff in there.
I think he even said pretty blondes too.
Okay.
So clearly Norman has a type.
And then
I wouldn't know I'm engaged to a redhead.
And Norman did that because in the closing speech from the mother, she says, or he says, that when I killed those girls and men, plural girls, she says plural, and in the movie we only see 1 girl killed. So that means those 2 girls were killed, the parents were killed, and now we're moving into, is Psycho a slasher? Because that's the end right there.
Then the twist, where they superimpose the skull.
Magnificent.
Oh,
and it's
honestly,
subtle.
and the way it's the end, and like where they're dredging the swamp. I mean, I wouldn't even hurt a fly, which is used again. Like a lot of it is just.
And they cut a scene from the beginning that was going to be him not hurting a fly, so it would kind of connect it. They ended up cutting that.
Which I mean, well, yeah, but and again now at the point of like, is Psycho a slasher? Meeting criteria that we laid out before, the 4. One, killer has to be human or at some point in time was a human. Norman Bates, yes,
Yep, he's there.
Is compelled to kill or chooses to kill. Yes, he was compelled to kill. 3. This is where
we're going to differ.
Yeah. Body count. Now, are we counting body count on screen or off screen?
Okay, see, on screen you got 2.
On screen you got 2, and for me, I would say no. That's too low for. But then again.
But that's on screen, because then you can go off screen. Parents, that's 2. The girls, the 2 girls that are talked about, that's 4.
Yeah, plus the 2 original. That's total 6.
He's a serial killer.
So by definition, yes, he is a serial killer.
Okay.
Oh yeah, definitely. But that's where it gets tricky. Is because if we're gonna go by off screen and then versus on screen, and I mean, for me, for the body count, I would say no, just because I grew up in the slasher era, the silver age of slashers, and it was all about the body count.
Right, you want to see the gruesome
and
death.
You want to, and yeah, there a lot of people.
That's why you
have
go to those movies.
Incorporate the, you have to have the gruesome deaths for the time those deaths.
So for once, I'm going to agree with you. I agree that this doesn't match. I want to see the gruesome death in a slasher.
Yeah, you at least
only got 2.
See the kills,
and they weren't. For 1960, they were
those
gruesome.
were gruesome. Yes,
yeah.
For 1960, I will concede to that definitely. But for a slasher, you go to those slashers to see the body count. You watch Friday the 13th, you watch Nightmare on Elm Street, you watch Halloween because you know what you're going to see. You want to see those body counts. And so for that, because you only see 2, I would say to make a true blue slasher, I don't know, what would be your minimum body count?
For me personally?
Yeah, on screen.
I want 2 in the first act, at least 1 in the second act, and then you're going to kill off everybody in the third act.
So by at least
with the exception of the final girl.
Oh yeah, at least.
So a couple, 3, 4.
Yeah. So minimum we'll say like arguing like 3.5 because there might be a survivor that comes back and you thought was dead and so 3.5.
You're going to throw some twists and all that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, and then number 4, final person.
Now we can argue that Lila, the sister, is the final girl, or Sam, because he comes in and saves. But he saves her, so does that count her as the final girl? Because she was going to get killed.
Yeah.
So he was trying to kill her.
The thing is, like, I would say I am on the fence. I don't know if I honestly do not know if I would call Lila a final girl or not.
Because if you can call her a final girl, that gives it 3 out of 4.
Yeah, so it is almost. A lot of people have referred to it. It is definitely a prototype. It is the template for slasher films. And Lila, I would even argue, is, even if I can't decide if she is or isn't, she is definitely the template of what a final girl is.
And there's definitely, it's obvious that modern day slashers starting in the 70s, let's say with, I'm going to forego any things we do with like Peeping Tom, but let's say Black Christmas. Let's start there. It's obvious that those filmmakers saw Psycho. They're like, okay, there's some good stuff here. We can build on that.
Which is a common trope in Psycho.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
in Black Christmas too.
Black Christmas, the eye shots, the constant eye shots. And... I mean, Psycho definitely, even if it is not a slasher...
It paved the way.
It is. It is the... Without Psycho, we would not have modern slashers as we know it. Mm-hmm. Like, that is definitely one thing I think we can both agree on. And without a doubt, it's hard to argue any point of... if it wasn't for Psycho, at least in America, because I know there was, I think Peeping Tom supersedes it by 1 year, but it was released in another country, right? It was not American first.
Was it Britain?
I want to say yeah.
Okay.
If anyone knows, comment.
Jeez, man.
But
Okay.
but again, the point is
We're talking,
like,
59? Yeah, okay.
yeah. But again, like, this is the point where, when we're talking about, because speaking to America,
And this is mainstream movies we're talking about.
Yes.
There could have been underground things and stag films and weird stuff that was going on and
without a doubt
that we don't know about.
But I mean, and the point is, like, even if Psycho is not a slasher, which I don't, at that point we are, I think, I don't know, I would say we're at a bit of an impasse.
It affected the slasher genre.
So proto-slasher would be
Did
a good
it create the slasher genre?
It would if it didn't create, it would definitely be the biggest influence. Yeah, you know what?
Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for.
It didn't start the golden age, but it is the catalyst.
The people who made the golden age. So we're talking 78 when Halloween came out, and that kind of kicked off the golden age.
Oh yeah.
So these people were in 60. They would have been, if they had been born in 60, they would have been 18. So let's say they saw this when they were 10.
Yeah.
So they're 28 in 1978 when Halloween comes out. Or give it an extra couple years in their mid-30s.
Yeah.
So they would have seen Psycho at some point.
So at this point, yeah,
it totally could have built or affected Halloween and that sort of thing.
Yeah. So I would definitely say proto-slasher is an appropriate term, because it is not quite a slasher, but it is the catalyst. Is probably the best.
Catalyst.
Because without it, it wouldn't exist. I mean, it might have, but it would not be to where it is today, because it started it. It kick-started that. I mean, it was like the invention of the wheel, almost.
Right. I get what you're saying.
It would have happened eventually, but that if Psycho wasn't invented or didn't come out, it probably wouldn't have happened for at least another. It would have taken longer.
People, the filmmakers at the time, Alfred Hitchcock had enough hits under his belt that he could take risks like this and push the envelope, and he didn't care. All right, whatever. And he did it, and it knocked it out of the park. This is what people wanted to see.
Exactly. And he was right. I mean, even for us who are more, who have experienced more modern horror films, which they really, Psycho ain't got nothing on them on over-the-top shenanigans.
Right. Oh,
but
yeah.
Psycho still, it's a heavyweight. It holds its own.
It is. Okay, so I'm going to dive into something here. You got everything was B-movie. You got the B-movie monsters and that sort of stuff.
Like Frankenstein.
No. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking strictly 50s right now.
Okay.
So 50s went into the sci-fi kind of monster. Radiation made a monster big and that sort of thing. Creature from the Black Lagoon is an exception. That was pretty good, but then the sequel did not do well. And they were just written off.
Yeah.
And horror was just written off at the time. It was what teenagers wanted to see. A respectable adult didn't want to see it. That sort of thing.
They're just like, I'm just looking for... Well, yeah, like...
And then Hitchcock changed that with Psycho.
He did.
Everyone saw Psycho. The man made $151 million off of this movie.
Exactly. I mean, by today's standards, when including in inflation, you are correct. I mean, I would go as far as to say, and some people might get mad about this and even, argue, but you know what, in my personal opinion, Hitchcock is the godfather, is the progenitor of modern horror. Without that...
With quality modern horror.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. If it wasn't for him... quality
suspense.
Horror films.
He's really good at suspense.
Oh, the suspense.
North by Northwest, not a horror, but it's suspenseful. Vertigo, not a horror.
That suspense is a subgenre of horror, and the fact it makes you feel a form of fear.
Okay,
we'll have to get into that another time, guys.
I'm just okay. In regards to this, like Psycho, I would consider a crime horror. I guess it's kind of a psychological horror. Yeah, it is looking into the psyche.
It could even be argued. Well, that it's a melting pot.
It is. There's a lot going on.
There's so much. Without
for the time, this wasn't in the mainstream. People didn't talk about split personalities. So again, it was one of those groundbreaking things.
It was groundbreaking on so many levels. And I mean, with that, I mean, so we don't get too far into this. I mean, what would you say? What would you give this film as a rating? 1 out of 10.
Okay, so I haven't seen this since I was a kid, and watching it again, everything all together, I wasn't bored. No boredom, even in the talking spots. They brought me back in. He knew when to stop the talking and bring you back in. This is, I don't give anything a 10 until I know it when I see it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
This is a 9.6.
Okay, see, and that was, I honestly, I give this film, I struggled. Excuse me. I wanted to find something to ding off of this film.
Right.
I really did.
Mm-hmm.
I tried. I argued with myself. I wanted to say 9.5. At the end of the day, I'm not going to lie, I had to give this film a perfect 10. I could not find...
Wow.
Yeah.
like it.
I couldn't find a reason not to.
I like it. I support your decision.
Yeah, and I mean,
I just can't draw myself to give anything a 10.
It's so hard, and I really tried. I want to. I think I'm probably a little bit nicer in a lot of aspects, but I think easily meet in the middle and say like 9.75.
Okay.
Like,
oh, hey.
Because
this is about as perfect as it gets when it comes to suspenseful, horror, psychological drama, crime.
Yeah.
It's got it all.
It does. It is.
Like the way it's shot, cinematography, music.
Oh, yeah.
It's
and
fantastic.
I'm talking about for something released in the 60s all the way 2024.
It still holds up.
Yeah.
I would watch this again tomorrow.
That's, holy crap. That's 64 years later. It's coming up on its 64th anniversary this September.
I'm doing the math. Yeah.
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 And it's still, to this day, pound for pound, holds up.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, and you can't deny it. I mean, between the references you get nowadays, That 70s Show did an episode of Alfred Hitchcock, The Simpsons, freaking Psych, Ice Nine Kills, the band, did a song called The Shower Scene off of this song. There's so much on this that it just, you can still feel the ripples through to like...
Absolutely, yeah.
It is... It's beautiful. I'm not gonna lie.
No, yeah, we're just slobbering all over this psycho
thing. We're fangirling. It's bad.
Yeah, it is.
So,
all right.
On that note,
so we should probably wrap it up. Now, have you ever seen Lifeboat? It's an Alfred Hitchcock movie.
I have not.
It's about, I think it's 6 characters on a lifeboat. That's it. How does Alfred Hitchcock do his cameo in Lifeboat? The whole movie is 6 people on a boat. I think it's 6.
Yeah, how does he do that? That'd be interesting.
Yeah, it's in a newspaper.
Oh!
Yeah. They open a newspaper and there's a silhouette. Anyways, on that note, we're going to end it. Thank you for watching Demented Collective. I'm David.
And I'm Gary.
And we'll see you next time. I don't know what we're doing, so we'll
figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
Later.